In this video, we will talk about the grand military parade held by Xi Jinping's China and what this event represented, both as a showcase and as a message directed at Donald Trump's United States. This Wednesday, September 3rd, the world's attention turned to Beijing and the grand military parade it organized. A show designed to impress, with impeccable troops and perfect cadence, and helicopters forming the numbers 8 and 0 in the skies, celebrating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. And Xi, imposing and proud, inspecting the ranks, but behind the choreography, there were very clear strategic messages. The parade served as a showcase for China's military modernization program, which seeks to build a force capable of deterring wars in all domains. Beyond the domestic audience, there were heavyweight guests, with over 20 heads of state, with Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un prominently positioned alongside Xi Jinping, this lineup on stage being part of the message. By showcasing a bloc, tightening the geopolitical encirclement of the United States from Taiwan, the Korean Peninsula, and even the war in Ukraine. For the first time, Beijing displayed in a concentrated manner the three pillars of its nuclear triad, which is its ability to launch nuclear weapons from land, sea, and air. At a time when estimates from the United States Department of Defense indicate that China has already surpassed 600 warheads and may exceed 1,000 by 2030. In this field, China's highlight was the DF-61, a new mobile ICBM with a land-based launcher. The DF-5C, an evolution of a silo-based missile with an estimated range of 20,000 kilometers. The JL-3, a submarine-launched missile, a key piece of the second strike capability. And finally, the JL-1, presented as a long-range air-launched missile, rounding out the Chinese nuclear triad. With far fewer aircraft carriers than the United States, China has doubled down on long-range anti-ship missiles, especially hypersonic ones, to try to keep American naval groups far from the theater of operations in the event of a crisis in the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. Among the new developments were the YJ-15, YJ-17, YJ-19, and YJ-20 missiles, variations of the same hypersonic anti-ship aeroballistic missile model, designed to saturate defenses and greatly complicate the lives of escorts and aircraft carriers. And for the protection of its own fleets, the Chinese presented the HQ-16C and HQ-10A, missiles dedicated to intercepting enemy anti-ship vectors. In the field of intermediate-range missiles, another name came back to the spotlight, the DF-26, but this time in the D version, known as the Guam Killer, a medium-range missile tuned to hit American bases in the Western Pacific. A missile that not only reinforces deterrence, but also second strike capability in case of escalation. Another major highlight was drones, with a showcase full of seemingly advanced unmanned systems, like the GJ-11 Aleo, a stealth drone designed to accompany manned fighters and expand the attack envelope. Wolf robots, land platforms for reconnaissance, demining, and even pursuit of combatants. And UUVs, extra-large and long-range underwater drones, from the veteran HSU-001 to the AJX-002, a VUXF up to 20 meters, designed for surveillance, blockade, and network attacks by swarm. Unmanned surface vessels and naval unmanned helicopters also made an appearance. Experts highlight that China learned from Ukraine the value of drones to wear down defenses and accelerate the target chain. And unlike democracies that still debate the use of AI as a lethal attack decision-maker, Beijing seems very comfortable injecting AI seeking decisions in nanoseconds. Besides reinforcing the prominence of the J-20, China exhibited for the first time in a naval configuration the J-35, a stealth fighter to operate on aircraft carriers with catapults, a central piece to provide more air power to China's air wings in open seas. Laser weapons also could not be missing, with the Chinese presenting the LY-1, described as capable of burning or blinding sensors and even pilots, amplifying access denial at the tactical level. The Chinese display in September 2025 confirms an industrial and technological leap, considering that 10 years ago, a lot of things looked like copies. But today, the shelf is more diverse and innovative, with a speed and scale of production that few can match. The challenge, however, is to integrate and operate such a wide inventory in a huge and largely untested force in recent wars. Quite the opposite of proven Western equipment in scenarios such as Iraq and more recently in Ukraine. The United States maintains a clear and substantial advantage in combat and control mode, with strong autonomy at the tactical level for maneuver adaptations. China, on the other hand, still operates heavily in a top-down style, with strict orders cascading down the command chain, explicitly requiring them to be followed to the letter. But if there are clear advances in the technical field, on the geopolitical board, the staging was crystal clear. With an international audience, the parade also served as a catalogue for export. Alongside Xi, Putin and Kim composed the photo that matters, signaling an aligned front willing to stretch the United States across multiple theaters simultaneously. The message is simple. Pressured in the Western Pacific, the Korean Peninsula, and Europe, Washington will have to choose where to prioritize and where to accept greater risks. And not by chance, most Western leaders stayed out of the stands. The parade in Beijing was less about choreography and more about strategic signaling. China wants to be taken seriously as a nuclear power with its renewed triad. It intends to hold back aircraft carriers and deter interventions around Taiwan through a long-range anti-ship missile arsenal. Heavy investment in drones and AI to gain speed and agility in the command chain. And it seeks status and influence by selling arms, while forming a political axis with Moscow and Pyongyang. But there is still a gap between showing and employing. The industrial scale is undeniable, but combat effectiveness remains to be proven. Until then, Beijing's message has been given and heard loud and clear. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any updates.